Good morning.
Good morning.
Wow, feel this circle of love. Just feel it. Can you feel it?
Yeah.
It's nice to step into the circle of love on this day. I am Reverend Karen Fry, your associate minister, and this is a beautiful day filled with lots of blessings. So we are going to have a rich ritual. We're going to have an amazing talk. And then we're going to have some Halloween fun. So you are in for some special treats. And this month, as you know, if you've been here at all, that this is the month that we talk about abundance. And so we are concluding the month of October on abundance and how, well, I can't give it away. Dr. Peacher would not like it if I gave it away. So I'm just going to stop there. Spirit said stop. But it's been a great month, and we're drawing it to a conclusion in a very special way today. So I'm glad you're here.
We have two lovely people who happen to be a part of our Adventures in Spirits, and they are Raven and Dana, and it's their turn. Come on.
Good morning, CSL. We can't contain it. We just love this place.
Well, guys, this is it. This is the final Sunday that we're going to be standing before you with our campaign. As you know, our theme for 2015 is Infinite Abundance, Prosperous Living. If you haven't been here in the month of October, this is your first Sunday. We're going to say we've been talking about our pledge campaign throughout the month. So this is our final push today. So we've been just stoked about this, and we want to continue to let you guys know this is it. We want your pledge cards. You know who that is? That's us.
Some of you may recognize that picture. Right?
That's Raven and Dana. And Captain and Tennille. Okay.
We'll take that. So as my wife has said, we have been focused on money and abundance and prosperity. And if you happen to miss it, or you have some reservations and you're not really sure and there's some fear, you just don't know what to do, we want to just remind you of some of the quotes that we've had this month to kind of reaffirm how you should stand and where we are, right? So I'm not going to read it to you, but the first one is by Jan Denise. You read it for yourselves, please. And the second one is our girl, Oprah Winfrey, right? So when you're in doubt and you're in fear, you're not sure what to do, just hold on to that. You'll see it come to fruition. It will pass. We also want to remind you of the priorities that we've been talking about this whole month of October. First, our youth and family ministry, what that means to us and our children and our future. Our invitation to share the message. How do we talk about CSLDallas and Center for Spiritual Living and Science of Mind? And then the last is walking out on faith. How we support each other. I'm excited about that. I mean, we do that now. Imagine 2015 when we really put some focus on that thing, what it's going to look like. It'll be unstoppable. This church is amazing.
Anybody recognize that bottom picture?
Yeah. All right, so supporting each other. This is the goal that we've been focused on all month long, right? And more. So we are meant to exceed that goal, right? It was just there, something to look at. We really want to just shoot right past that because we got work to do, and it's good stuff. So I'm really excited about that. We'll come back to that in a little bit.
This is my favorite quote of the month of October. It always seems impossible until it's done. I've had a few people come up to me in between, after each service, each Sunday that I've been here, and they have a little trepidation. They're going, I'm not sure. Well, I'm here to tell you today, just do it in love. Just do it. Get in just a little bit and start from somewhere, and we'll always take more. So I encourage you to step out. Remember that Indiana Jones? It won't appear till you take that step. And God is faithful. God will meet your needs. So it always seems impossible until it's done. And then once you do it, once you step out, once you just give a little something. And I told someone that today. A lady came up to me after service, say, I'm still struggling. I'm like, just do it. What you waiting on? You're not going to know until it happens. You're not going to know until you actually do it. So that's my love talk for you today. I said I wasn't going to preach anymore, so that's it. For those of you that may be concerned, how can I give, which ways, how do I put the money in? You can write a check and put on the check in your memo, pledge, and put it into little baskets as they come around each Sunday. We have online banking, which means you can go through your bank, set up a recurring payment to come through. We will accept your credit card or debit card, MasterCard, Visa, American Express, and Discover. Is that correct? Okay, I know carte blanche. Anybody still doing that? Okay, I just dated myself, my bad. And also automatic giving. Automatic giving through our web portal. And this specifically is for the people who are watching online. If this is your church home, we ask you to please participate with us in this. This is the way you can do it, CSLDallas.org. When you get into the home page, you see a donate button. You see on the my right, your left, if you're watching the screen behind me, that's the AIS campaign for the year. You would click and it would say select a campaign, click the 2015, and make your pledge. So we would take them check, credit cards, we would take cash, but we need to know that it's for the pledge, auto ties, and you can also donate online. So we encourage, this has been great. We believe in you, we believe in each other, this love, and let's just do this thing and blow it out of the water for an excellent 2015. And now, I apologize, I always do this. Here's Brent Castor.
Hello, my name is Brent Castor. I've been coming to the Center for Spiritual Living for about 3.5 years now. I grew up in a more traditional church environment in a very small town, and the whole fire and brimstone did not resonate with me. So when I left for college, I just stopped attending any type of religious service. As I got older, met my wife, and we had 2 wonderful children. And you start getting back into that. You start wanting your children to grow up in more of a spiritual environment and get some of those aspects in them. But I also didn't want to get them into an environment with the fire and brimstone and the negativity that I felt and the judgment that I felt. It's such a different, loving, and inviting place where your children can grow up and be exactly who they are, and they're not just accepted for it, but they're loved for being who they are. And that's important to me. I want my kids to be who they were meant to be and be accepted and loved for being that person. I want this community to grow, and I want more kids to attend so that we can grow and create more of a world of acceptance and being taught love and happiness. Doreen and Michael Dewey, I thank you for creating the environment, and I appreciate having a place like this for my children to come and for them to grow, as well as myself. I give of this community because of the friends and the people I meet here and the wonderful smiling faces I see every Sunday morning when I come in, and the hugs. And I give of this community so that we can grow and share that love and share those hugs and share more of this acceptance and compassion that we have in this community. And the amazing lessons and teachings that we get every Sunday morning, and to help support the classes that I've taken here that have all just had such an impact on my life. So, yeah, that's why I give to the CSL.
Thank you, Brent. So this is it. And I just had one more thing to say. You notice what color I'm wearing today? And I'm channeling Reverend Petra right now. So this is your power team. This is your power team. And Dana and Reverend Cameron, we didn't plan this. That's how you know we're flowing in the Spirit. So this is a Spirit-filled day. This is it. And here's our number once again.
All right. Well, I can't just repeat all the things that Brent said. It was just amazing to watch him and see him in alignment with everything that we're doing as well. And so let's do it. Let's do it for us, right? This whole campaign is really about us. It's not about no one else. We feed each other. We support one another. We grow together. This is an amazing, amazing place. And so we're asking you to invest in this place so that it will be here, not just today, not just tomorrow, but 50 years into the future. We have lives to save, and this place has saved mine. I know it saved yours. That's why you're here. So let's do this together. I'm going to say the number. We're going to say the number together. We're going to say the number of pledges as well, and then we're going to emphasize and more. You with me? Yeah. One last time? Yeah. Here we go. Give it all you got. All right. Here we go. $543,000 and 189 pledges and more. Thank you.
Thank you so much, Dana and Raven. Woo, y'all get me so fired up. I'd like to do a Jack Fowler song for you this morning. I celebrate my abundance today. By giving this gift, I show my faith. As I open my heart, my world becomes a better place. I release all fear as I share gratefully. This love that I give always gives back to me. And knowing my oneness with everything else, I know that all that I give to myself. I celebrate my abundance today. By giving this gift, I show my faith. I open my heart and my world becomes a better place. I release all fear as I share gratefully. This love that I give always gives back to me. And knowing my oneness with everything else, I know that all that I give to myself. Yes, I do. I give to myself. Oh, and knowing my oneness with everything else, all that I give to myself. All that I give coming back to me, and I celebrate today my faith, a celebration, a celebration. All that I give, I release all fear as I share gratefully. This love that I give always give back to me. Knowing my oneness with everything else, all that I give to myself. I celebrate my abundance today. It is my expression of faith. Thank you.
Thank you, Andrew, Jonathan, and Michael. Thank you so much. All right. Yeah, celebrating abundance, celebrating all the ways in which we give. And what a powerful thought that if we are truly one, that every gift that we give, we're giving to ourselves. Not in some selfish way, but in the truth that we're all part of the whole. And everywhere that we give, we're touching some part of the life of the divine. And that's a powerful thought. And then we come to this notion when we talk about this giving, and what I notice is that for some people, it's a bit of a four-letter word. Yeah. It's, riles up thoughts, past beliefs, conversations about money, about churches that are always asking for your money, and all the things that we have in our childhood from that. And so it's an opportunity for us to really explore what is it that we mean by these things, and what's there for us. So what is this four-letter word we're talking about? What is this four-letter word we're talking about? Pledging. No, that's a six-letter word. Tithe. Oh, no, that's a five-letter word. Pledging and tithing. And yet, many of you in this room already practice pledging, and you already practice tithing, and you already know the value that it is in your own life, and grateful that you choose to pledge and tithe here. Many of you have a deep spiritual meditation practice, and you already know what a difference that makes. Many of you already do prayer, and you use practitioners on a regular basis, and you already know how that works in your own lives. Many of you are already giving in service. Do you see, these are the practices that we have come together to learn and to really grow our spiritual maturity. And for those of you who are already walking the walk, good for you. And we can walk more deeply together. But some of us are not yet there. Some of us, we're lucky if we meditate 3 minutes once a week. Some of us call a practitioner. Why would we want to do that? Hadn't really thought about that. I can remember when I first got into Science of Mind, and I did everything until I was so flat on the ground, exhausted, and then it occurred to me, oh, maybe I should pray. Right? Sometimes that's the very last thing that we do, and our practice is to learn to make it the first thing that we do before we end up on the floor. And so pledging and tithing is part of our spiritual practice. And we are, just like all the other spiritual practices, this one may be the one that activates us. And so, what is the four-letter word that we are actually talking about? Well, I think there are actually two four-letter words that we're talking about. The first one is fear, and the second one is love. Jerry Jampolsky said years and years and years ago, there's only two options in the way in which we engage in life, fear or love. And when we talk about our spiritual practices, particularly this spiritual practice, it is so amazing how deeply it illuminates the way in which we're walking around in the world. I love this month of October. I love talking about abundance. I love talking about prosperity. I love talking about pledging and tithing. Why? Because it pushes our buttons. And when it pushes our buttons, do you see these things are being activated so that we can look at them? One of the things that we understand is the way in which we do anything that activates us, the way in which we do anything in life is actually the way in which we do everything, particularly in those areas around which we're activated. And so if we find ourselves being activated about this conversation, there's something really important going on. There's a deep opportunity for healing this dichotomy of whether or not we're living from fear or whether we're living with love. Now, I don't mean fear like shaking in your boots fear. I don't mean fear like, oh, I'm so afraid that something terrible is going to happen. I don't necessarily mean that kind of fear, although that's sort of fear in its largest extreme, isn't it? But fear, for me, is when we walk around in the world contracted. I know that I am living my life from fear when I pull away, when I withdraw, when we are contracting ourselves energetically. That is, whether it's small or large, that is when fear is operating in our lives. And whether it's about money or about starting a new business or having a new relationship or simply going someplace we've never been before. Do Do you see the way in which we energetically engage life is how we're going to experience it? And so fear is that contracted place where we are withdrawing or pushing away or closing down, closing ourselves off. And how do we connect with life when we've done that? How do we give our gift when we've done that? So the other side of that coin is love. Now, personally, I don't think that love is actually a feeling, not in the way in which we're using the word here. We're not talking about romantic love. We're not talking about even friendship love. Ernest Holmes says love is the self-givingness of spirit into creation. Love is the self-givingness of spirit into creation. So anything that we give ourselves to, we are in the act of loving. And so do you see that giving ourselves to is an outward act? I think of it energetically as expanding. Anything that expands us, that calls us to be more, that calls us to open, that calls us to engage, that calls us to push our energy outward, this is us operating as love in the world. And this is the way in which we give our gift. This is the way in which we show up. This is the way in which we are who we are called here to be. This is how we actually manifest heaven on earth. Because if we are the incarnations of the divine, we are actually the hands and voice and heart and eyes of spirit moving in the world. So love is a decision. It's a way in which we act or behave. It's a way in which we choose to show up expandedly, in an expanded way, in a way that invites that in others. And so immediately what happens? There's the possibility for connection. There's the possibility for growth. There's the possibility for possibilities. There's the possibility for more because the energy is flowing this way. And so our spiritual practice of pledging and tithing actually activates this very thing within us so that we can see how are we moving in the world. And we can use our practice to begin to shift from fear, from that place of contraction to love, that place of giving. Now, if you've been on Facebook in the last couple of days, you'll have seen this image. It's a beautiful image that Reverend Karen took, and when I asked her, I said, do you have an image of a bumblebee flitting around a flower? And she said, oh, yeah, this gorgeous image. Look, it's so crisp and clear. You can even see the eyes and the little hair on the abdomen. It's like, wow, this is really amazing. And I'm thinking, what does this have to do with pledging and tithing and love? It's pretty funny. And so it is an absolutely gorgeous image. It's a beautiful image of this beautiful bee. And the question is, what does this have to do with pledging and tithing? So this is not a rhetorical question. This is a question for you. Why are we using this image of a bee on a flower in this particular talk about pledging and tithing? What does it evoke in you? Debbie? Demonstrates the giving and the receiving, okay?
The openness to flowers and opening up the flower to receive, and as it receives, you also see the flowers opening both to the receiving and also opening to the giving.
Beautiful. All right. Who else? I saw other hands. Yes? Creating a buzz. I love that. Creating a buzz. Beautiful. Okay. Good. All right. Say it here. I'm going to give you the microphone so people can hear you.
Well, I was privy to it on Facebook too, so I was part of that discussion. But it at the same time it reminded me of the cross-pollination.
Yes. Beautiful. The cross-pollination. All right. Yes. Good. Thank you. We'll come right here back to you, Bill.
I think it's representative of that the bee collects pollen for the good of the whole hive, and they all prosper from their effort.
Beautiful. Bee collects pollen for the good of the whole hive, all right?
The end result is sweet.
The end result is sweet. True. Because it's love. It's love. Oh, I got one all the way in the back there. All right, you come towards me and I'll come towards you. And No, that's all right. It's good.
I see survival.
Survival. Okay, so the bee and the honey and the flower are growing and surviving together.
How about bee love?
Bee love. Yes, absolutely. All right. One more. Yes. Okay.
I think it's a demonstration of the law of nature.
A demonstration of the law of nature. And what is that law? That we all need each other, isn't it? That law of, wait, okay. Did I hear something? Yeah. Okay, good. Come towards me and I'll come towards you. Where's the hand? Up. All right. Good. No, it's all good.
It represents building because bees, well, they represent the number 8, and the way that they build is so intricate, and it all, it's in the circle of life, but building.
Beautiful. It represents a building. Good. And so let me ask you this question. Can the flower survive without the bees? Man. And don't you know, right? This is what's happening today. The collapse of the bee colonies, and that our very food is threatened because of it, because we don't understand how critical the inner relationship is between bee and flower. I know Joe has said something great between services. You have to say it out loud.
I just remembered. And if you're in a barren place with no flowers, you can't just wait for the bees to show up. You'll have to plant some flowers to get it going.
Ooh, good thought, right? Yep. And so what an amazing thing to think about, right? So the bees, the flowers can't grow. They won't pollinate. There'll be no fruit without the bees. And if there are no flowers, there are no bees. The bees have nothing to pollinate. They have nowhere to collect honey. They have nothing to feed in the hive. And do you see how intricately woven together it is? And as the bee moves from flower to flower to flower to flower, that pollination brings life. It brings life. Now, I don't know about you, but man, I just think that's love made manifest. Don't you? The flower is wide open to receive and gives of its pollen effortlessly. And the bee lovingly goes and collects, and it doesn't discriminate from flower to flower. It just goes from one to the next and is just spreading life. What an extraordinary thing to think about. And so when we are engaged in this process, do you see, we're participating in this. However you see yourself in the metaphor, sometimes we're the flower, sometimes we're the bee. Sometimes we're part of the colony. We're part of the collection, right? Last week we did the New Member Sunday. Sometimes we're part of the garden. All of those pieces and parts, we're a part of all of that. And without us participating like that, then things begin to collapse. And there isn't that forward movement, just as we're experiencing with our bees in nature today. Why it's so critical that we pay attention to these things. So we come to our community here. So this is a question I get asked often. What's the difference between pledging and tithing? So a pledge is a promise, right? That's what you do. You pledge your love, you pledge your money, you pledge in a marriage ceremony, you pledge. A pledge is a promise. And when you promise to give us money, basically, you're not giving it to me. You're not giving it to Reverend Karen. You're not even actually giving it to the organization. The truth is you're promising to give it to each other so that collectively we can have this experience. You're promising to give it to each other so that we can bring our children, so that it will be here tomorrow when we need it or someone else needs it. So our pledge is our promise. And the court council uses that promise to develop a budget. We develop a very straightforward adult relationship as a community and leadership. You tell us how much you're going to give us, and that's what we'll budget on. And if we would like to do more things, then we need a larger budget. This is the promise, and it says you can count on me for this. Now, a tithe is a spiritual practice. A tithe is a 10% return through the use of appreciation and gratitude. It is a 10% return of all of the good that we have already received. And it is a deliberate spiritual practice that puts us in relationship with life and reminds us of the abundance of the universe that we live in. Your tithe is between you and God. Your pledge is between you and your community. Now, we invite you to pledge a tithe. We hope that you will pledge your tithe here. But we're asking you to pledge something, anything, every bit matters. Whether the bee goes out and pollinates just one flower or a whole tree, it matters, right? Every bit of it matters. And so what we're asking you to do is pledge to this community, to grow and prosper this community. What we're inviting you to do is to step out into the spiritual practice of tithing. Because I know how, and we know how incredible it is. Now, let me just tell you this story. When I came here, many of you have heard this story, but some of you are new enough that you haven't. When I came here as the interim minister in 1993, those of you who were here last night, you know, Michael got here like 2-3 weeks before me. I was the interim minister. I got here and they fired the minister for spending all their money. And the minister left, took 80 people with him. So there were 20 people left, and we were $50,000 in debt. We were in a building that was way too big for us, and I was asked to step in as the interim minister. I had a 18-month-old child, and I was a full-time student. So I was full-time mom, full-time student. I became a full-time minister for a year. And so the core council and the board at the time and we sat together and we said, well, so what are we going to do? How are we going to turn this around? And I said, we're going to tithe. Excuse me. We have rent. We have to pay bills. Yeah, but this is the spiritual practice. Tithing is the spiritual practice. Tithing is the practice that says, I know where my supply is. I know who my source is. And I step out on faith. So that board of trustees, they trusted me enough to say, okay, we'll do it. So every week we would take in the offering, and the next Monday morning we would count it, and we would write 10% to CSL, now in Golden, our national organization. In 6 months, we had rebuilt the church and we had paid $50,000 in debt off. By tithing. I helped them hire a minister. She was wonderful. I helped them hire a minister because I was a full-time student and a full-time mom. I didn't need a full-time job. I helped them hire a minister. She was here for 2.5 years. She decided to get married, moved to Austin, and I was still hanging around. They said, wouldn't you like to be the interim minister again? And we were back down to 20 people and we were $30,000 in debt. Deja vu. It was a big deja vu moment. Like, man, didn't we just do this before? But it was a whole new group of people. It was a whole new board of trustees. What are we going to do? What are we going to do? Oh, and then not only did we owe $30,000, but we also owed the minister money, and they had put the tithe on the books as a bill they hadn't paid in a year. A tithe is not a bill. You never owe a tithe. You either paid it or you didn't. That's it. You either meditated or you didn't. You don't you don't meditate for an hour today because you only meditated for 5 minutes yesterday. Right? You either meditated or you didn't. You don't owe a tithe. A tithe is not something you hold on the balance sheet. You pay it. You pay it immediately on the first fruits of our labor. That's what a tithe is. So we wiped out the tithe. We said, okay, that's silly. This is not a bill. And we did exactly the same thing. In 4.5 months, we were paid off. And at that point, they said, would you please stay? And I said, okay, I don't think I want to do this again. I think twice is enough. Do you see? Now, it's not magic. This is not magical thinking. It's not magic. This is using the laws that we talked about last week. This is understanding and using these laws and absolutely being willing to step out on faith on the law that we cannot see. Now, when I first personally started tithing, I'll tell you the truth, I didn't start tithing, I started pledging. A very small amount. But at least I began the consistent practice of giving. And it felt like a lot. And I would hear people talk about tithing. I was very young. I was 19, 20. I'd run away from home when I was 15. Nobody had ever given me anything. I had bootstrapped myself up into trying to make my life work. And I started pledging. And it was a small amount, but it was my commitment because the center meant so much to me. And my goal was to tithe. And every year I increased that. Every year until I was fully tithing. And then I was so excited because I realized that I was writing those checks without fear. You see, when I first started writing those checks, it was like, oh, I just don't know whether I can do this. But every year I showed myself I could do a little more and a little more and a little more. And then pretty soon I was tithing and I was pledging because I believed in what I was getting out of the center. It had saved my life. I let go of drugs and alcohol and all that running around and carousing, and I really began to put my life together, and it was because of Science of Mind and that center. And so then my pledge was about this place. This place, I believe in this place, and I'm willing to do my part to make it happen. And that began to grow and began to grow. And then I'll never forget the day I decided, oh my God, I am going to imagine writing a tithe check with a comma in it. Yeah, because when I write a tithe check with a comma in it, do you know how much abundance that will mean I've experienced in my life? Amen. Thank you, sister. You bet. And I realized that I had moved to an entirely different place with tithing. Tithing had been the training wheels for my walk of faith, which turned a practice, first a little scary practice, then a practice of I want to be a part of this, into a practice of gratitude and appreciation. I can't wait to write my tithe checks, and I love them when they're really big. I love it when CSL writes really big tithe checks because we are being grateful and appreciative of the good that we have experienced in our own lives. In our beautiful book, Busting Loose from the Money Game, Robert Scheinfeld says this: expressing appreciation is one of the most natural and empowering forms of expression there is. It is a great gift to create an opportunity to express or receive appreciation. Appreciation is an acknowledgement of the value of a creation. Money is just the symbol of that expression. This is a very subtle but important point to really get. Appreciation is an acknowledgement of the value of a creation. The center, your life, the beauty of nature, the very created world in which we live. There's so much to be grateful for as we move through our life every day. Robert Scheinfeld goes on to say this: expressing appreciation in the form of money then becomes like breathing. You don't worry about where your next breath will come from, do you? You don't measure or track how much air is available to you right now, or how much will be available to you in the future. You don't try to get more air or protect the air you already have. You just breathe without thinking about it. And you have total faith that the air will always be there for you. Living from your natural state of infinite abundance works the same way. You just breathe your abundance. You just breathe your abundance, breathing in all the good that the universe is forever showering upon us, and breathing out the gifts that we have to share. Each and every one of us, we have a gift to share. That's why we're here, is to be that gift in the world. And so tithing is one of our relational spiritual practices. Sacred giving is this practice that puts us in right relationship to the divine and to those things that we value, those creations we value. We teach 5 spiritual practices here. Meditation and visioning, they're receptive practices. They're practices in which we open ourselves to the divine and we feel the inflow of love and the intuition of inspiration. Spiritual mind treatment, our form of affirmative prayer, that is the directive spiritual practice. That's when we deliberately use the power of our choice and we exercise our understanding of the law and we direct life into creation. And then sacred service and sacred giving, tithing, these are our relational spiritual practices. They remind us that we're in this together, that we can't do this alone, that we ourselves are the body of God. This is the manifest body of God, the universe. The physical universe is the manifest body of God, but we're the place. We're the place where love shows up. We are the actual hands and heart and eyes and voice. We are the way in which the divine is incarnated and made manifest in the universe in a conscious and deliberate manner. And so we need each other and to experience that, and through our relationship with each other, we express it. And so this becomes part of our spiritual practice because it reminds us every day, every week, every month that we are in relationship to an infinite abundance that supports us and to each other as we share that love that we are. So we're going to have an opportunity then to really experience this as Reverend Karen comes up here and moves us into our ritual that we have for you.
I'm going to invite Reverend Vince to join us.
He was going that way.
He was, I noticed. Okay, so Peter, Andrew, and I developed this ritual for each of us to truly be the bees and the flowers. So we have talked about, we started this month with, we live in an abundant universe. It is our birthright that we have an abundant life, and that everything is energy. Everything is energy. And so we are going to share our energy as love. We're going to be love with one another in this moment, and the greeters are going to pass out to each of us a pledge card. And
can they be doing it while you're
yes,
explaining
I'm
it?
hoping they please start. So they are passing them out now. Now what I'm going to invite you to do is take a pledge card. Even if you've already given a pledge to us, there's a reason for this. So I'm going to invite you to pass them down and ensure that everyone here gets a pledge card. And as we receive these pledge cards,
don't write on
do not write on it, please. And you do all have a pen because it was on your chair when you came in. But please do not write on it at this moment. Just follow along as I guide us in this ritual. I see teens and stuff. Come on down, please. You can just come down and join us. Shane, Michael, Ifaimi. Couldn't see everyone. For this is our time. And so once you receive your pledge, I'm going to invite you to take it within, right here, your hands. And begin to cast your energy, your love on this pledge. In whatever ways you want to do that, as Andrew leads us in a beautiful song.
I am called to be a healer for all humanity. I am called to be a dreamer, to believe in what can be. I am called to be a maker, be an instrument of peace. I am called to be a giver, of abundance I receive. I am called to be a prayer, living out the truth I seek. I am called to be everything. I am called to be. Called to be the glory here on earth, so all might see all the love and all the beauty that shines in you and me. I am the living, breathing God, and you are one in me. We're called to be.
We're called to be. And so now we are going to pollinate. And so what I invite you, each of you, to do in this moment is we're going to take our energy and our love and we're going to share it. And so I'm going to invite you to share this with 3 or 4, no more than 3 or 4 people. Let's exchange these pledge cards. And as we do this, we are each going to say, with this gift, I bless you and our community.
With this gift, I bless you and our
With this
community.
gift.
I am called to be a mother, to nurture family. You are called to be a brother, be strength in times of need. You are called to be a neighbor, see a friend in all you meet. You are called to be a leader, to build community. You are called to be a prayer, living out the truth you seek. You are called to be everything. You are called to be. Called to be the glory here on earth, so all might see all the love and all the beauty that shines in you and me. You are the living, breathing God, and you are one in me. We're called to be.
Okay, bees, come back to the hive. So, we've exchanged our love. It's spread everywhere. Where we started, we don't have the same. This is every single pledge that we have received thus far. They are fully present. I was touched by one where a little girl at the first service drew pictures and said, CSL is my dad's home. She wrote all over it. It's really beautiful. She wrote the word prayer. She said, see. And so I place all of our pledges in here. And now is a time where I invite us in this energetic field of pure unconditional love to realize that we have an opportunity that's quite rare. I call it the triune nature of love. As Petra said earlier, as we are moved to give and to pledge to this community, we first give to ourselves. So that every time we are each moved to walk into any of these doors, we give ourselves a gift. Every time by making this pledge. Every time that someone else in this community walks and chooses to walk through these doors, by our pledge, we give each of us a gift. And what I really know, there are so many people in this Dallas-Fort Worth area that are yearning and seeking for a place such as this. And so when we pledge and give our gift, we give it to them, those who are not here yet and surely will be next year. And so I invite all of us in this moment to be with how much love you want to pledge for CSLDallas in 2015. Especially someone that has not pledged yet. And I promise you, no gift is small. No gift is large. The gift is pure love. God doesn't know big or small. And I also, in this moment, for all of you who have already pledged, see if there's more that you want to give to this community. Fill out another pledge card and merely write final or use this one, and we will. And so this is the moment as a collective group, we actually take the moment to write it out now. Now, not when you get home, now. And for all of us that aren't writing, hold the consciousness, for this is our community. And once you filled it out, we want you to bring it up. Bring it up and add it to all that are already here.
I am called to be the kindness, set the brokenhearted free. We are called to be forgiveness where the pain has run too deep. We are called to be compassion, be the wind beneath each wing. We are called to make communion, only then can we succeed. We are called to be a prayer, living out the truth you see. We are called to be everything. We are called to be the glory here on earth, so all might see all of the love and all the beauty that shines in you and me. We are the living, breathing God, and you are one in me. We're called to be, oh, we're called to be. Called to be the glory here on earth, so all might see all of the love and all the beauty that shines in you and me. We are the living, breathing God, and you are one in me. We're called to be, we are called, we're called to be. Called to be the glory here on earth, so all might see all of the love and all the beauty that shines in you and me. We are the living God, and you are one in me. We're called to be, we're called to be, we are called, we're called to be peace, called to be joy, called to be love. We're called to be peace, called to be joy, called to be free. We're called to be peace, peace, called to be joy, called to be love. We're called to be peace, called to be joy, called to be love. We're called to be. We're called to be. We're called to be.
So I'd like you to just reach out and hold the hand of the person next to you. If there's a gap, just, just stretch your fingers out. You don't have to, if you want to stand up, you just go right ahead. And feel how our hive has been pollinated. And so we just take a moment to breathe it in. Breathe in the love. Breathe in the love that has been shared. Step forward, please. Vince, we're gonna make a little circle around this. Come on over here. We're just gonna make a little circle around this bowl. So just feel that love as you've shared it. Don't forget for 1 second. Don't ever think for 1 second that your love doesn't matter. Just the fact that you're here, you're making manifest the glory of God as you. And these gifts, these tithes, this is love pouring itself out into the world. And our world is filled with turmoil today. So many places. It needs our love. It needs our light. And so with the deepest and profoundest gratitude for the life that we have and that we share and the gifts that we have to give, let us collectively bless these pledges, these gifts, these representations of our love. Let us know that they fill our lives with joy and with good. Let us know that they bless this community as we double our YFM classrooms and we increase the services and programs that we do, as we grow and touch and transform more lives, these gifts make it possible. And let us bless the light that we are in the world, the beacon of light that this place is, as it shines forth in Dallas, in the greater community, all those people who watch us online, all of the lives that you touch. You are the light of love as you walk around in your workplace, in your families, in your homes, just down the street. You are love made manifest. So I'd like for you to repeat after me. I bless these gifts.
I bless these gifts
with all the love in my heart.
With all the love in my heart.
And I receive the blessing.
And I receive the blessing
of the love that they are.
Of the love that they are.
And this love multiplies.
This love multiplies.
And is a light in the world.
Is a light in the world.
Bringing peace.
Bringing peace.
Bringing hope.
Bringing hope.
Bringing joy.
Joy.
And bringing love.
And bringing love.
And so it is.
And so it is.
Amen.
In the velvet darkness of the blackest night, burning bright, there's a guiding star. No matter what, oh,
see the flag wave, and I can see the rain just the same. There has got to be something better here for you and me.
There's a light over at the Frankenstein place. There's a light burning in the fireplace. There's a light in the darkness of everybody's life. The darkness must go down the river of night's dreaming. Flow, Morphia, flow, let the sun and light come streaming into my life, into my life. There's a light over at the Frankenstein place. There's a light burning in the fireplace. There's a light in the darkness of everybody's life. The CSL Dallas Theater Ministry.